My ADHD doesn't even exist when I am in movement, when I am exercising. Every doctor's going to tell you that. Heck, I even tell you that. It's one of the 4 core main pillars of ADHD Wellness Co. in managing ADHD med-free. That exercise is really good for managing ADHD. But what do I actually mean when I say this? Because it's not a 1-hour workout at the gym 3 times a week. It's not a 30-minute at-home bodyweight workout every day. It's not going to spin class. It's not Pilates. It's not a lot of things. Well, not really. It is a little bit. And we're going to explore what that really means and what it means for you specifically. Welcome to Beyond Meds. We're unlocking ADHD management without medication, optimizing physical health, harnessing mindfulness, and biohacking for a med-free life. It's time to take a holistic approach and treat the whole person, not just the symptom. I've been in the fitness industry for my entire life, including professionally for about 15 years. From starting as a group fitness instructor way back in the day, I often tell people that I grew up in a gym. I've always been fascinated by movement, all aspects of it, the biomechanics, the meditative flow, the skill development, the health benefits. So I am very excited to dive into this topic with you. And if you have found me originally on YouTube or you're watching this there now, I have almost 100 videos dedicated to exercise for ADHD, including a whole 12-week progressive follow-along workout plan that you can do at home. I'm going to link that in the show notes. What I explore today is this concept that exercise is really good for managing ADHD. But what do I actually mean when I say go exercise consistently? What are we actually telling you? Exercise, as we know and define it, isn't the solution, at least not in the traditional sense. It's actually what happens during exercise that gives us the benefit. What generally happens, I should say. Because if we exercise too hard or approach in the wrong light or in the wrong mindset, it can actually do us more harm than good. Meaning less is more if we're looking for the ADHD benefits. What I mean here is that the solution is actually integrating movement into your day, every day. That's where we're going to get the most consistent and the biggest benefit for easing ADHD symptoms. Let's start first with why is exercise as we know it not helping us? And what I said at the beginning, not what we think it should be. First off, it's the connotation and meaning we give exercise and working out. When I say the words exercise and working out, what feeling comes up to your body? What comes up in your mind? It's probably associated with some sort of negative feeling that it's going to be hard, that it has to be a challenge, that it's uncomfortable, that it's something you have to do, you should be doing it, you don't do enough of it, you don't do it good enough. We've been so conditioned and programmed to associate exercise and working out as something as negative or something that we should do, and if we don't, we start to shame ourselves for it. Because that is how our culture has evolved. All types of exercise are going to benefit ADHD in some way. But if we think it needs to look a certain way, like going to the gym, getting a hard, vigorous workout in, or we put some expectation on ourselves to do it daily, or it has to be super consistent, or it has to be hard, or that we have to do something that everyone else is doing that we may not like working ourselves into it, it's not going to be sustainable. So even if we would have gotten benefits from it, we're not going to get the benefits because we're not being able to stick with it. Or if we're sticking with it, it's layered with a bunch of shame, perhaps, a bunch of discomfort. We're really using a lot of willpower or discipline to do it, which also does not help us because it's a big stress on our nervous system. See, when we can reframe something or recondition ourselves to look at something in a different way, we approach it in a different way, making it easier to stick with, easier to find enjoyment in it, and it's not going to take as big of a toll on our nervous system, which in turn will also help and benefit your ADHD symptoms. Now, when we look at exercise, there's so many benefits to it, a range of benefits. But when we just look at the specific ones we want to get for ADHD, and that's going to make exercise look a lot different for you. For example, If we took gentle exercise like yoga or Pilates versus some vigorous exercise, I'm thinking like CrossFit, some high intensity functional training, very explosive in nature, you're going to get some very different benefits from both of those. But you're also going to get some similarities. Because there's such a wide host of benefits from exercise, they do overlap. And just as a side note, if we were looking at a well-programmed workout plan for someone, you'd want to include all of these different types of exercise to get the whole host of benefits. And again, these benefits are not just for your physical health, it's also for your mental health as well, and just your holistic well-being. Now, this is where we fall in the trap, because when we lump both of these types of exercise together as just exercise, we think that we must do this general exercise to get the benefits. But you don't have to decipher all these different types of exercise and what specific benefits they give you. I'm going to show you how to do that, what this means. So think of a Venn diagram. Love those. And thinking of all the different types of exercise, they all have their unique benefits, but then there's overlap. And we're going to look at the overlap of where it helps ADHD specifically and make the most of those. You can start to see this is all interconnected. It's not just do exercise, you get these benefits, because it's how we approach exercise, it's the type of exercise we do. And it even includes not exercising if that's going to further benefit our nervous system, bring it back to parasympathetic state, which we then get the benefits in turn to help our ADHD. We don't live in a vacuum. And this is why this topic I absolutely love. It's so nuanced. Can be complex, but I'm really going to simplify this down for you. I just want to summarize everything I said. We put a lot of unrealistic and unhealthy expectations on ourselves in search of something healthy and beneficial, and it ends up being more unhealthy or doing more harm than good in the end. That has been exercise for a lot of the population, but specifically us as the ADHD population. So what is the answer? The answer, again, it can look like exercise, like I said at the beginning, but we're going to do a reframe. We're going to recondition how we view exercise. So the answer is integrated movement. That means integrating movement, the key word here, into your daily life. That can look like exercise as you know it. And it can also be exercise as your friend knows it, but that may not be how you view it. And this is why we're using the word movement. That gives us so much more freedom, creativity, a wider interpretation of what that looks like for us in our unique lives, in our unique day, in how we feel in the moment, of how our nervous system is responding in the moment. We can get the best benefits both for ADHD, but also for our physical health and the rest of our mental well-being. What does integrated movement look like? Movement is anything that moves your body. So anytime you've been told to sit still, or you're playing with something, twiddling your thumbs, if you will, that is movement, and it actually is so beneficial. Ignore all the conditioning, all of the wounds you may carry of when you've been told to sit still. I do want to talk about movement in the light of what we know as exercise, though, where we do get the health and physical benefits from more vigorous movement. Integrating movement into your day can look like 5 minutes of dancing in the morning to get your day started. It can be a 30-minute walk midday to take a meeting on the phone as you're walking, to ponder a new creative idea. It can be a run, a jog. It can be going to play soccer for 30 minutes with your kids outside in your backyard. It can be going to a Pilates class. It can be going to the gym to lift weights. Movement can be anything you want it to be. But movement for you and how you choose how to integrate this into your life needs to give you benefit. And we're talking strictly right now about ADHD benefits and how that will also connect to health benefits. But in what ways can you move your body where you start to fall into a state of flow? I talk about this in a lot of my content on YouTube, your movement flow. This is where your mind starts to go quiet or is completely quiet, where it's not pinging around. You don't have this monkey mind. And you're just so in the moment and in the movement. Like you could just keep going if your body wouldn't get tired. That is your flow state. And I'm sure you've heard of flow state in different contexts, but we want to capitalize on that flow state in movement. Because when that happens, you're able to come back to your core self and not being run by the ego. You're coming back to your core gifts and skills, your core authentic self. You're coming back to who you are and what you really shine at, what you're here to do in the world. Because when you can tap into that and not be run by this mind that's saying, do this, do this, do this, where it doesn't feel in alignment, you gain back control of your choices for the rest of the day. You have intention, you're proactive. Because I always attribute ADHD as being reactive, of being pulled in different directions, like you feel like a victim to your mind, versus being in control of that. When you can find that quiet in your mind, that's where you get the clarity, the perspective. It's where the creative idea comes. It's where the focus comes. It's where you know what to do next. You know what decision to make. You know what to have for supper. You know what task to do next year in your day. This flow from movement is similar to what you may feel in a meditative state. If you do meditate regularly, where you find that awareness of your mind. But if you're not one to meditate, totally fine. We can find that through movement. When we're in our movement flow, what's happening is the energetic layers that we have got put on us over the day or even the week start to come off like an onion. We may wake up, we may be clear-minded, excited for the day, ready to go, and then that just crumbles away. We get lost in analysis, paralysis. We may just start to numb out, search for the dopamine, whatever your ADHD isms that come up in full force. So these are like energetic layers coming on us like an onion is what I like to think of it as. When we can come into our movement flow, like I said, we're coming back to our core self and these layers start to peel off. And it's like as if we just woke up and we're feeling fresh-minded. And this is why we feel that runner's high after going for a run, why we have more focus after doing a good workout. There is science behind this. Because when we do work out, there's a whole range of chemicals and hormones being released and moving around our body, and it creates a strong body-mind connection, right? So we can make use of this by going to that flow state. We remove these energetic layers that have come on us. We come back to who we are at our authentic core self, and we have the clarity to move forward for our next step of what that looks like in our day. Now, to access this flow state, it doesn't need to be a full workout as we know it. It can literally be like 5 minutes of dancing. I use that example a lot because that is something for me I personally do in the morning or throughout my work day. It can be anything where you move your body and you're feeling connected to your movement, to your body. You don't need to overthink it. Just start to move and let your body move for you. And if your brain just won't shut off, that's normal, that's perfect. Just think of the body parts you're moving. All of this helps us connect back to our body, this mind-body connection. Same thing that happens in meditation. And it helps pull off those energetic layers, come back to our core self. Same thing in meditation. We have that awareness of what's actually happening in our brain. We come back to what we are at that core level. We get out of, the ego gets out of our way. And this can look like any sort of movement to tap into this. Think of it like a meditative practice if you want. We get the physical health benefits with it as well. Another favorite of mine is going for a walk, listening to music. I'm just one step in front of the other, which can be very meditative. And the music helps me get in a nice state, a nice vibe. And this is where I get the most creative ideas, where I come back to that authentic decision making. It's where the ADHD does not exist. And you probably already know what forms of movement work for you. It's just we haven't let ourselves do it because, again, we've looked at exercise as a thing that has to look a certain way. So we shun or we throw aside the things that we did get benefits from, and it doesn't build trust with ourselves, right? We're always looking for, like, that can't be it. It must look this way instead. And like we've explored already, that's just not true. And that's when we're coming back to movement. In what ways can you move your body that feel good for you, that get you out of your head, get you out of the ego, out of the ADHD? I like to associate the ego with the ADHD as almost one and the same. An integrated movement look like a full workout? Absolutely. I still make it a priority every day to get about an hour and a half of focused movement in that does challenge my body. And it is aligned with my goals. My goals are right now for skill development, but also for overall strength and just prehab. So you can still have your, what you would call exercise in your day or in your week. But we're not just focusing on that thing being the end all and be all to help us in all of these areas with my ADHD, with my mental health, with my physical health. But it's something you're doing that has some goal attached to it for you. A personal goal that you're going to enjoy. If your goal is to, build muscle, great. Go to the gym, lift weights if that feels good for you. And then still incorporating movement throughout your day, every day, to get the benefits for ADHD. I said at the start, this topic is nuanced and varied. So stick with me here. Now, if you're someone who hates working out, would never go to the gym, and is really struggling just to have any movement in your life, then I really want you to anchor in on the movement, the term movement, and what that means for you. In what ways can you move your body that feel good, that feel fun, feel enjoyable, without the expectation of it leading somewhere, without having it to lead towards weight loss or strength gain, without a goal attached to it, but rather to move because your body craves it and needs it. Because like I said at the beginning, you can get the benefits for your ADHD and it doesn't have to come from a full workout. And sometimes that can do more harm than good if it's taxing your nervous system too much. So less focus on an exercise related goal and more focus on just moving your body. And that is for you if you're struggling with sticking to regular exercise, or if it's something that just hasn't been for you. And to add to that, if you are someone who hasn't exercised consistently and it does not sound exciting for you at all, trust that moving your body, you are going to get health benefits from it. Because if you're going from nothing to something, that is progress. That is a step forward. Especially if you're enjoying what you're doing, then you'll naturally start to take steps further and further in that movement and health journey. Now, I know I've said do movement that feels good for you. Often we still need some sort of starting point. So what this can look like to make it simple and reap other benefits that are going to be good for your health is try to get outside at least once a day. Get outside once a day doing some movement such as a walk or a run if that feels good for you, or maybe just doing some stretching in your yard. Aim for getting outside once a day with some movement. I also say start your day with movement, 5 minutes of movement. I actually have a whole morning routine, an ultimate morning routine for ADHD, and it includes a follow-along workout routine that's 5 minutes that you can get. I'll link it here in the show notes on how to access that. Start your day with movement, a walk, some dancing, some stretching. It can be a workout, but keep it just to 5 minutes, and if you want to extend it past that, amazing. Another way I recommend incorporating movement into your day is in your workday. I love following the Pomodoro technique. I do 45 minutes on, generally about 5 to 15 minutes off. In that break, do some movement. Maybe that's just walking around your house. Maybe it's a bit of a stretch. Again, dancing for me. I throw in a song and I'm able to dance depending where I'm at. The term I love, movement snacks, I got it from a gal I follow, Jessica John, an aerialist in the circus world. But it works so well for my brain. These movement snacks where I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds nice. I would like a snack. And it's going to be in the form of movement. When we integrate movement, we let go of the connotation we've added to exercise and working out. And we need to know that we actually get more health benefits than we think we do. See, when we're moving our body, if we're doing it in a way that we enjoy, say we're going outside for a walk, we're getting fresh air, we're getting real sunlight, the vitamin D. We're moving our body in a way that's really natural for us. We're looking forward to it. That's a positive signal for our nervous system. We can then come into a restful state because we're enjoying it. We're not stressed by it, which is also going to give us more energy throughout the day because we're not trying to force ourselves into it. We haven't used up all our willpower just getting to the gym. So trust that whatever movement you're doing, if you're enjoying it and it's feeling good in some way, trust that is right. Start to build some self-trust in your trust bank. And trust that you're getting more health benefits than you think you are. Plus, your ADHD is benefiting from it. I've done other episodes on the link between ADHD and your nervous system. strongly care, personally regulating my nervous system and coming back to a restful parasympathetic state as much as I can. And that's significantly helped my ADHD. If you're forcing yourself to do hard exercise all the time, it's not helping your nervous system. So re-looking at it through the lens of movement is going to give you a lot of benefit for your overall health and your ADHD, and more than you could probably identify right now. Well, we're going to end it there. I can talk about exercise, movement, and all the adjacent topics forever. Go check out my YouTube backlog of videos on this. But if you have any specific questions from this episode, please drop them below or send me an email. I love to hear what is coming up for you. I would love to do an episode to answer that. And lastly, depending where you're watching or listening to this, it would mean the world if you subscribed, download, liked, shared, because it helps me reach more folks just like you, more folks who may have ADHD already, are suspecting it, and that are looking for ways to manage ADHD that isn't just medication. We'll see you next time.